Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided I'd film my labor and delivery story, but first I want to introduce Leah. Hi Goo Goo. This is Leah Desiree. You smiling at your sister? You guys, they love each other. They love each other so much. But she is gonna be 3 months on the 29th, so she's growing so fast, you guys. They grow friggin' fast. It makes me sad. But here she is. She's my little baby. Do we look alike? Because I think she looks nothing but like her dad. Like, she has nothing for me, you guys. Maybe her lips, that's it. And she's drooling all over the dang place. So this is who this story is about. Hi, Goose. Hi, Goose. Okay, guys, let me go give her back to her daddy, and I will be right back to tell the story. Say bye, Goo Goose. Say bye. Say bye. Okay, so I gave birth to her a day before my due date, like my actual due date, but I went into labor a day before that. So I had woken up like at 5 in the morning, and I just felt like horrible. I did not feel good at all. And I was just like, okay, what's new? Because like in that those couple last weeks, you feel that way all the time. So I'm like, oh, but this one was bad. Like, I just did not feel good at all. So I woke up and I watched TV, and I was just laying there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if this is really it? I thought that, because you know how they say, just know you're in labor. Like, it's a different kind of feeling. You just kind of sense that you're going into labor. Well, I seriously sensed it. So I was just laying there. I took like a 30-minute nap, and I hung out all day on the couch just watching TV. Like, I was just miserable. And my fiance got up to go to work, which he goes to work from 2 to 10, and I told him, I was like, I think we're gonna have a baby. Like, I don't feel good. And I was laying there on the couch, and it was like about 4 or 5, and I was just laying there, and I was miserable. And at this time I started cramping. Like, it was actual cramps that I started feeling. About like 7 at this time, I was laying down, and I just feel like this sharp pain down there, like sharp pain. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what was that? Like, it was so sharp that I like jumped. Like, I was like, what the heck was that? So I was like, how about I'll take like a shower? You know, showers make everything feel better. I'll feel relaxed, and I'll take a nap, because I'd been up since 5 that morning. Took maybe a 30-minute nap. I was like on 0 sleep. So I went to go get in the shower, and when I went to like get undressed, I saw that there was blood and like white stuff, which obviously is your bloody show. If you don't know what that is, that's like it's your mucus plugs / bloody show. I think they're the same thing. It's to keep your baby from getting infections and everything like that. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if this is it? Because you can lose your bloody show like right before labor, or you could lose it like days, weeks before your labor. So it's not really a real serious indication of labor, but it shows that there's actually something happening, you know, that it might actually happen. But let me go backtrack real quick. I had been to like every single checkup. They never checked me if I was dilated, because I never had the signs of being dilated, so I didn't know. So I'm like, oh my gosh, my bloody show, like, what the heck? So I freaked out, whatever, got out of the shower, and I was just laying there getting like more cramps. They were kind of more intense. My fiance got off at 10, and he got home, and I was like, babe, I think we're gonna have a baby. Like, I lost my bloody show. I think these are contractions. I don't feel good. And he's just like, well, let's try to labor at home, because if we go to the hospital too early, they're just gonna send us home. So we decided to go take our dog for a walk around the block. And like, while we were walking around the block, I'd have to stop and like breathe through my contraction and then keep going, and you know, but walking helped me so much. So we come home, and they actually stopped then. Like, at that time they had slowed down, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it was false labor. So I go to lay down, and they started so bad, you guys. Like, I was sitting there with my timer, and I was just like trying to breathe through them, and I was like, babe, this hurts, like, this is bad. So I was laying there on the bed, and I had seen one of my Instagram friends put on Snapchat that she was in labor, and I was telling her, like, I'm having contractions, like, I think I'm in labor. And she's like, dude, just go in. Like, the worst they can do is send you home if you're not in labor. Just go in. So I was like, okay, let's pack our stuff up. So me and Nathan got ready, and we headed out. Well, we got to the hospital, and they admitted us and everything, and at this point they hooked me up to the monitors and stuff, and the contractions started to slow down. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is probably false labor, you know. So the lady comes in and she was like kind of rude about it. She was like, "You're a first time mom, I doubt you're in labor, but we'll just check you. You're probably gonna go home." So, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't have time to deal with you right now. I'm a mean pregnant lady, all right? So this is what scared me, because I heard so many stories about how bad it hurts to get checked. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the worst part I've heard, whatever. And even the lady doing it, she's like, "I'm not gonna lie, this is going to hurt. So you just need to breathe through it." And I was just like, what? Like, I was freaking out. So they did it, and it actually didn't hurt me at all. But that was because I was 4 centimeters dilated. So really it hurts when you're like not dilated, because they're sticking their whole entire hand up you, you know. But when you're dilated, you're more open. So it didn't hurt. But she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 4 centimeters. You're actually dilated." Like, no, really. But she's like, "How about you gotta be 6 to be admitted into a room, so how about we have you walk around the hospital for an hour and come back and we'll check you and see if there's change. If not, then we're gonna send you home." So me and Nathan walked around the whole entire hospital, and it was so much fun. Like, we were messing around the whole entire time. It was like 4 in the morning, and we were just like going through the halls, walking. I'd stop and have a contraction, and like I'd put my arms on the walls of the hospital, and like I'd rock my hips and put my head down. That helped so much, you guys. Like, that took the relief off of it. Whenever I'd sit down and have a contraction, it would hurt so bad. Like, walking was my only relief, So we're walking, being all nosy around the hospital. So an hour passes, which went quick. And we go to get checked again, and she's like, "Okay, you're at a 5, about a 6, like a 5.5, 6. So that shows that there's change, but I'm going to talk to the doctor because he might still want to send you home." So she leaves, and she comes back, and she's like, "We want you to walk a little bit and see if you progress. If not, we're going to send you home." So they hook me up to the monitor. She's like, "I need to make sure the heartbeat's good, and then you could go walk." So pretty soon me and Nathan start to notice that her heart rate's dropping. Like, it's not just a little drop, you guys. Like, it would go and then it would drop, like, so bad. And I was just like, "Nathan, like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong?" I was freaking out. And he's like, "Babe, maybe the monitors are all messed up. Maybe something, like, don't freak out." So the nurse comes back in, and she's like, "Your baby's being stubborn. I can't get a solid heartbeat. Like, let's try it this way." And they had me do different, like, positions to lay down. And we were in there for like an hour with her heartbeat dropping. And so she comes in, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not feel safe sending you home. Your baby's heart rate is dropping, and we don't know the reason, so we are going to admit you right now." And I was like, oh my gosh, like my heart sank, you guys. It was the worst ever. But they like reassured me that if it was really, really bad, they'd do a C-section and stuff, you know. So it was like, we're just gonna keep an eye on it. So they admitted me into our room. They came with a wheelchair and took us to the room. When I got there, time flew by, like flew by. I just remember being on the bed, and I was holding onto the arms of the bed, and I was rocking myself in pain, just moaning. Like, it hurt so bad at that point. And I was like I could still handle myself. It just hurt. I wasn't crying yet. Like, I was just like, oh, trying to breathe through it, and like trying to go through labor. And she was even telling me like, "Are you okay? Your contractions are coming back to back to back." It really showed me like my pain tolerance, because I thought at that point I'd be freaking out, but I was actually like pretty collect. So she comes back in, "What do you plan to do for pain and all that?" And I was like, "An epidural." She's like, "Okay, let me call the anesthesiologist." Well, she's like, "Oh, the anesthesiologist is in a C-section right now, so you're gonna have to wait." And I was just like, what? So I was freaking out, and at this point I was just crying. Like, I was freaking out. I was looking at Nathan, and I was like, "Babe, I can't do this. I can't do this. It's painful. Like, it hurts." And I was rocking. And finally the anesthesiologist comes in. He tells me, "Okay, I'm gonna give you the epidural, but the way I like to give epidurals is I don't like to fully numb you, because then it's so hard for you to push, and it just results in a longer labor." He said, "But I'm gonna numb it enough to where it takes the ease off, but you're still gonna feel your legs. You're still gonna feel down there. You're gonna be able to move your legs." And at that point I was like, "No, like, I want to be numb. Just numb me." But he did that. Let me just say, if you're afraid of getting the epidural, it does not hurt. You do not care about the pain at that point, you guys. You are getting slammed with contractions back to back to back. You do not care about a little needle going in your back, okay? That was like the easiest part of the whole entire thing, was getting an epidural. So they give me the epidural, they lay me back, and it takes a minute to kick in. Well, I noticed that it's only kicking in on one side of my body, so I could still feel it all on this side, but this side's numb. And I start freaking out because I had heard stories of people not having the other side numb or it not working. So I was telling Nathan, I had like a full-on panic attack. I was like, babe, it's not working, it's not working. So she comes in and she flips me. And it worked, but I could still feel the contraction like in my stomach. So it was nice because I knew when a contraction was gonna come, but it wasn't like horrible pain. It was kind of like a stomach ache I could feel when it was coming. So Nathan, we're all excited to go to sleep. We're like, yes, we could get some rest. My mom had even came and they told her, you could go back to work. It's gonna be a while before she even has a baby. So my mom left, we were getting ready to relax, and the lady's like, let me just check you one more time just to make sure. At this point, her heart rate's still dropping, you guys, and they hooked me up to oxygen. If I forgot to mention that. They put me on oxygen to see if that would help her heart rate. So they check me, and she's like, yep, exactly what I thought. You're at a 9. She's like, we're ready to push. Let's do some practice pushes. I went from a 6 to a 9 in like 15 minutes, you guys. 15 minutes. They had me do practice pushes, which was easy because, like I said, I could still feel my legs. Pushing was not hard for me at all because I wasn't completely numb. And if you do get an epidural, I'd ask them to do that because it's nice. Like, it takes the ease off, but you could still push, you know? You're not completely numb. Nathan calls my mom and is like, you need to get here like now. She had just got back to work, and she was trying to get here before Leah was born. I literally got here 3 pushes before I had Leah, and it had me like lean on this side and push her out, which I think might have helped too. If you're worried like about like all your junk being out there and male doctors and stuff, you do not need to worry about that, you guys. I promise you, you don't even think about that when it happens. Like, I full-blown had my legs wide open and doctors are like introducing themselves to me and I'm all shaking their hand. They're like, I'm gonna be the baby's doctor, I'm your doctor, I'm this, I'm that, can you sign these? And you're just like, they're like, yeah, sure. Like, I was just so smooth with it. I was like, yeah, of course, laughing, having a good time. Like, I really did have an easy labor and delivery. So we were laying there, I was laying there like doing my practice pushes, and my mom got there and we were all joking like in between the pushes. At that point I had crowned, right? And here's the little funny part of it. So Nathan had told me even before, he's like, I'm gonna stay above your head. I do not want to see anything down there. I do not want to see it at all. He's like, so I'm gonna stay above there and that's just how we're gonna do it. Well, when I crowned, the doctor's like, do you want to see her head? And so I feel like he felt obligated because the doctor asked him. So he looked, and guys, I think he was scarred for life, like forever. But anyways, I crowned, and the doctor looked up at the monitors, and he's like, Marissa, you need to push this baby out right now. Like, you need to push her out. Give me a hard push. She needs to come out. So at that point, I kind of freaked out. I was like, what? Like, why? So I gave my last push, like the hardest push I could give, and she came out. Well, when she came out, so the main doctor was there, and then there was like this trainee, and she's the one that caught Leah. When she came out, she must have been slippery or something, I'm not sure, but she literally slipped out of that lady's hands, you guys. I'm not even trying to be dramatic. She slipped out of her hands and like slipped down the table, and they barely caught her before she hit the ground. Like, I think that lady probably got in so much trouble because the doctor even looked at her like, are you kidding me? And she's like, I'm so sorry. So they pulled Leah back up. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, when she slipped down. But they pulled Leah back up, and when they pulled her up, the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck so tight, you guys, like so tight. He had to yank it, and that's the reason her heartbeat was dropping, is because that umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck and she wasn't getting oxygen. So God was seriously with us in that situation. Like, oh, it makes me want to cry because I can't imagine my baby, like, not having my baby. She comes out, and they're like, Nathan, you need to cut the umbilical cord right away. Like, we need to get her to our table. So he cuts it. I didn't even get like skin to skin where they put her on my chest because it was so quick. She wasn't crying, and she was purple. So they rushed her to the table, and I kept telling Nathan, she's not crying. Like, she's not crying. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm such a crybaby when it comes to her. Don't you dare cry, Marissa. This is a happy video. Pretty soon I heard her start just bawling, and it was like music to my ears. It was the best sound in my whole entire life. And it was just amazing. The most amazing experience of my whole entire life. I would do it again and again for her. Like, it's so worth it. The pain you go through, is nothing compared to the love that you have for them, you guys, and the happiness that they bring you. Like, oh, it's just so amazing. It's such an amazing experience. This is gonna get like nasty, but let's be honest, birth is not cute, it's not pretty, and it's pretty nasty. So I had watched YouTube videos all the time about birth, right? Nobody told me that you have to deliver the placenta, you guys. Like, no joke. You have to deliver the placenta. I had no idea about this until they're like, can you give me one more push? And so I pushed, and like all you heard was it like flop onto the table, and I was like, what the hell is that? Like, as far as like recovery, I had a really easy recovery. I didn't tear, so I didn't have to get stitches. She was so tiny. She was 6 pounds, or not tiny, but she was 6 pounds 4 ounces and 19 inches long. So I didn't even tear with her. I didn't have to go through the pain of stitches. I mean, you are sore. I was sore for a while, like especially when you get that epidural, your back, oh my gosh, you guys. Even now, I still could feel where they put it. It's true, the pain of the epidural does hurt. Like if I bent like this or in the cold, I could still feel where the epidural was put. It's a little pain, but honestly, I'd rather have that my whole life than feel the pain of having her naturally, because you women that do that, you guys are like superhumans, because not for me. If I could give you pregnant ladies like advice, honestly, you guys, I would watch as many YouTube videos, everything. Just get as much knowledge as you can about labor, birth, everything, because that's what I did. I just filled my brain with knowledge about all of it. So when I went into it, I kind of knew what to expect, because being thrown into that, I couldn't imagine. Not knowing any of that, I would be like freaking out. I'm like a planner, so maybe that's just my personality, but I searched everything, like everything. I looked up, I watched tons of YouTube videos, tons, about labor, delivery, birth vlogs, all that. That's my advice to you. Just try to have as much knowledge so you're not just thrown into it and blindsided, you know? At least you know somewhat of it. Not gonna lie, like, parenthood is hard. In the beginning, I thought I couldn't do it. I was stressed, I was emotional, I didn't know how to soothe her. It's hard. Like, think about it. You guys are strangers up until that point. Yeah, she's inside you, but you don't know each other. Like months to get to like actually know each other, but once you have that bond, it's amazing. So just keep that in mind, okay? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and let me know what other videos you guys would like to see. Thank you for watching. Bye.